Are you having it? Just wanted to keep you.
Seriously, Martin? You really think that's funny? So, why am I here?
We need your expertise in here.
Esa mujer no caminaba como la novia de nadie.
¿Oh, sí? Pues, ¿cómo caminaba?
Como la jefa.
Do you remember how did you get that opportunity with Griselda?
Griselda, they were casting for Griselda for a woman from Miami who becomes the first or one of the first homicide detectives ever in Miami. And speech was an interesting thing because by the end of my time at school, I couldn't recall my own voice. I didn't know how my own voice sounded at that point. So that scene, actually, funny enough, that scene is one of my more interesting scenes because what was happening in that moment. My mom was very supportive, though. My parents are both very supportive. Let me not throw them under the bus, but they were like, ¿pero qué estás haciendo?
They were worried.
They were like, you're so smart, you could be a lawyer. Ironically, I thought, because you're just talking about school, I thought I was going to go to Yale. That's not true. I didn't think. Everyone around me thought that I was going to go to Yale to be a lawyer.
Okay.
So when I was in high school, I was like one of those kids that I had such an appetite for it. I just had an appetite for political science, for government, for world history, for all of those things. So I would stay up until 3 or 4 in the morning and go to school at 7, writing essays and perfecting it and making sure it was the right, sounds so nerdy, but the right syntax, the right structure, the right theory. I had a very strong work ethic.
Okay.
And so my vice principal, he sat me down, I think his name was Mr. Bayer, and he was just like, you should consider going to Yale. And I was just like, I laughed at his face because I was just like, me going to Yale?
Wow.
I would never live in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yep.
It's too cold. What would I do there? There's no Cuban coffee, no hay maduros, no hay nada de comida.
Yep.
That I would be comfortable to eat. And then also, again, did I say it was cold?
Yep.
And then they would never accept someone like me. It was just I had never, it didn't feel so connected with the rest of the country as for instance, New York does.
Yep.
New York, it feels like everything is possible here. I don't know if that's.
No,
it feels like everything is possible if you work hard here. And that's not, I don't know, and that could be my own thing with Miami, but Miami feels a lot more me being a child of immigrants more than the following generation. My father had very much you need to survive.
Yes.
I came from poverty and we need to survive. And I just never thought I'd go to a school like that, ironically.
Do you think that preparation in college, did it help you for your acting career?
I think for a long time, I wanted to go to a school like that to be seen as legitimate and to be seen as valuable. I think that when I came to New York at such a young age and I didn't have any family connections, I had no resources, I had nothing to find a way for me to get in the business. I was I'd audition for these Broadway plays and it'd be well, what school did you go to? And I'd be like, I'm learning from life. And they're like, that's not good enough. What school did you go to?
Yeah.
And so it became a thing where there was a play actually, and it was about Colombian women. And I was like, it was about some stuff that my own family experienced. And I was like, I can do this play. Okay. There's no reason, no one can do this play as good as me. I was like, I can do this play. And everyone who had got in was from Juilliard. And it was that experience that I was just like, I need to go to school. Like, I need to go to an actual drama, because I only did conservatory by that point.
Okay.
So I studied in London at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts, and I did classical text there. And then I studied in every conservatory in New York City, and still, like, people would be like, well, what school did you go to? And so it became a point where when Yale came into the picture, it was like, what felt like for me, for people to take me as legitimate, I was like, I have to go to a school like this. And then, I don't know, in some way, I think the school needed me more than I needed the school.
How so?
Well, because like, they're really changing. They're like rapidly changing, but you have to like imagine that these are institutions. And I think a lot of people of color and maybe women of color experience this too. When you go to an institution like that, that is so old, that is so like embedded into the United States. They didn't have, when I was there, it was still better than what it was for other people, but they never had like
Martinez's.
They didn't have like Martinez's really. They didn't have like plays that they understood like could be for us. And then speech was an interesting thing because like by the end of my time at school, I couldn't recall my own voice. Like I didn't know how my own voice sounded at that point because I had so much classical training to speak a standard speech, like American standard speech. And so it's an interesting experience, but in like some ways, I feel like my biggest lessons is when I came out of school. Like when I think about like what I learned at school, it's like what happened after I came out.
Let's talk a little bit about after school. What was your first role right after school?
My first role was a nun. I played una monja. Is it monja, right?
Yeah.
I played a nun in a Prodigal Son. And just so funny because I also grew up really religious. And I had played someone who spoke in tongues at school. Okay. And everyone loved it. And they were like, what is, like, you're crazy. Like, how could you do that? But I grew up in churches in Miami where they did that. And when I would go to Colombia over the summer, I would be going to churches. Like my dad had cousins who were very involved in the church. So it was like Monday, Wednesday, Sunday going to church. Okay. And so the first role I played was a nun who could speak Aramaic in like this, like, it was like kind of like a scary episode. And that was like my biggest paycheck I ever got. I remember I was just like, it was a guest star. I was just like, oh my God, it's my biggest paycheck. I'm gonna be okay. And it was 3 months after I graduated, which was 2020. So like imagine everything shut down. We all think we don't know what's gonna happen. Yep. It was a really great time to enter the workforce because nothing was happening. And that was like my first job, like right out, like 3 months in.
Who and how? Like, was anybody that you knew? How did you audition for it? How did you get that opportunity? I
did a self-tape because there were no in-person auditions anymore by 2020. So I did an in-person tape, and I remember I was working at restaurants, and I was very tired because also, mind you, the weirdest experience for me was that when I came out of school, I was working so much, like I was getting 4 hours of sleep for 3 years, you know, that when nothing was happening when I came out, I was like, it felt like I was on a treadmill and I was sprinting and then suddenly it stopped. And I was like, what, like it was very freaky to me. So I had all this time and then I was like, I have to work. Now I lost health insurance from school. I don't know what to do. Yep. And so I was working a lot. I remember I sent in a self-tape in the midst of like going to a work shift, and they called me like the following one, and they were like, "You booked it," and it was with the Colombian director,
Colombian director.
Antonio Negret, who's doing Lincoln Lawyer right now. Colombian director.
Oh wow, yeah, I love that show. So, do you remember how did you get that opportunity with Griselda?
Griselda.
Yeah.
So my very first audition out of school, the casting director, Rachel Tenner, I just signed with my managers, and they sent me my very first audition, and it was to play kind of like a 70-year-old woman in a project called The Maid. And I, being, I don't know, being, I don't know what the word is, like being spicy, being rebellious, being like very protective of like what I try to represent for Latinas. I was like, I'm not gonna be in anything called The Maid. I was just like, that is not why I went through all of this time at school. And the person I was with at the time, they were like, you need to relax and just read it. Just like read the thing. Like you can't just say no. Like you have to actually sit down and breathe and read it. Right. And I was just like, okay. So then I read it, and it was based off the book The Maid that was like a bestseller in the New York Times, and it was not about anything that I thought it was going to be. And then I was like, how am I going to play a 70-year-old woman who's the owner of a cleaning service? And I was like, fine, I'm gonna do it. And so like I prepped for it. I remember getting like a cup of noodles and like thinking of all the experiences I had growing up in Miami, seeing like so many women who had to do that to survive. And I was just like thinking of women that I grew up with that it reminded me of. And then I sent it in, and the casting director was like, I like her. I'm gonna keep my eye out for you, because now I know I'm gonna keep my eye, like I know something. And I didn't understand it. And I was just like, okay. And they were like, she really likes you, like my managers. And I was like, okay. And then a year after that, Griselda, they were casting for Griselda, for a woman from Miami who becomes the first, or one of the first homicide detectives ever in Miami. And I remember reading it, and I was just like, I think I could do this. And I was like, I'm pretty sure, like, I kind of understand what that is like, being underestimated all the time. I think I understand this woman. I had sent in a tape with, like, someone over Zoom, and then I didn't hear anything, and then I was just like, I kind of gave it up. And then 3 months later, they were like, we rewrote the whole script. We want you to, like, audition for it again, please. And I was like, okay. And I didn't know that they were looking all over the world for this part. And the casting director, Rachel Tenner, was like, you guys aren't finding her. You guys aren't finding her because this is your girl. And like fought for me.
Oh, wow.
And then the director saw me, Andres Pais, and was like, yes. But he wasn't yes at first, to be fair to Andy. He was unsure. And then I was, to end the story of how I got the role, when I had graduated from school, and I said there was nothing, I started going online and like looking for anything I could be a part of, like community-wise. And so I got into this fellowship by Lena Waithe. She's like an amazing executive producer, writer. She won an Emmy for The Master of None, and she was making an inaugural, like inaugural basically collective of like the 10 best screen actors of color, 10 best writers of color, 5 executive producers, and she wanted them all to be from like marginalized communities, but like the best of the country.
Okay.
And I had an audition for that. I got in. And at the time that they sent me in that second tape for Griselda, we were heading out to LA to do a showcase. So when Andy was like, I like her, but I don't know. I said to my team, I was like, you tell Andy that if he wants to know I'm right for the part, I'm gonna be in LA next week and he should meet me in person. And they were like, well, no. I was like, no, you tell him if you wanna know, if he really wants to get a sense of me, none of this like computer, virtual, you don't get a sense of anybody. So if you really want to get a sense of what I can bring to the table, tell them to meet me in person. I'm flying out to LA next week. And Monday came around, I didn't hear anything. Tuesday came around, I didn't hear anything. Wednesday came around, I didn't hear anything. I was leaving Sunday morning. Thursday came around, I was like, if I don't hear by tonight, I didn't get it. Like, it's over.
Yep.
It's left me. And then I think Thursday night, they were like, what time is she leaving? And it's like, Sunday morning. What time? 11 a.m. He'll meet you at 8. And I was like, what? And I met him at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. And we talked for like an hour and a half. And I like left and I was like, I think I got it.
That was it.
I think I got that part. Yeah, but we had a really good conversation. Like,
It's beautiful.
We had a very, like, we talked about his life and we talked about how it felt like to try to make art in what we do. Just like this, like we just talked. Like I wasn't trying to convince him of anything. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just like, if it's yours, it's yours. And if he meets me, he'll know it's mine.
Did culture have anything to do with you getting the part, you think, in that conversation?
Yeah, I don't know how much it had to do with it. I think he appreciated that I was from Miami, so I understood the way we navigate.
Okay.
So I think he appreciated that. But like, I think he also appreciated, I was probably, because I'm Colombian, I think he appreciated that too. But like, I think what he was really looking for is like, June is like someone very, she's a real life person. And she's someone that has a lot of tenacity. And she's someone, what's interesting about her is like, she's mixed. And she's Cuban American and she speaks Spanish. But she wasn't like, that was a detriment to her at that time. Like all of the cops at the time were all white men, and they were like, you don't know anything. And it was the thing that she was being criticized about, like her being a Latina, her being a woman, that were her biggest strengths. And he was looking for someone that, like he said, that could like in a very raw way bring that. And you can't really act that. You either have it or you don't, I think.
And there's a piece when your character says, you guys are overstating the fact that she's a woman. You know, like almost like, like you're underestimating this.
You're underestimating.
And I love that scene. Talk to me a little bit about that whole.
Which scene is that?
Yeah,
Which scene is that again?
I think that there was a conversation about the fact that everyone was just talking about the fact that, you know.
Is this with a group of men in the room?
Well, there were always men.
No, but like, was it like in the, like there was like a board?
Yes.
And then like the guys are at the table?
Exactly, that same scene.
So that scene, actually funny enough, that scene is one of my more interesting scenes, because what was happening in that moment, we have guests. Oh, we don't have guests. I'm sorry. There's no coffee here, I guess. Yeah. That scene, I was heading to do my Yale graduation the following day.
Okay.
And I had read the script so much that when we were going to film that scene and they gave me like my outfit, I was like, this is the wrong day. This happened 2 days before. This is happening on this day, and this just happened, and this just happened, and it should be a different time of day. And everything was set up. So if you've ever been to set, like, it was like all set up, like all the lights, we have everything, the location. And then like I go to Andy and I'm walking and I'm like, Andy, this isn't right. This is like a time, like this is like, this happens and we're not there. And Andy was like, took me in and he was just like, you're right. And he had to go to the Netflix executives. We had to like wait for 2 to 3 hours to figure out what was missed, because like they missed the time of day for that scene, and they missed where it happened in the script because there were rewrites. And so 3 to 4 hours talking over with the executives, and then our AD is like, it's okay, we'll get you on next Tuesday. And I was like, I can't come next Tuesday. And they're like, what do you mean? And it's like all these people, like 100 people in the room. And I was like, I'm graduating on Tuesday. And they were like, what? And they're like, what do you mean you're graduating on Tuesday? I was like, I'm graduating from school on Tuesday. And there's like it's like older guys, like all like, and they're like, what are you talking about? You're we're on set. Like you are filming a movie basically. And I was like, yeah, I already got this. I'm sorry. Like I need to go to my graduation.
Oh my God.
And they were like, fine, then we have to do the scene tonight. And then we did that scene like at 2 or 3 in the morning. And when I was walking down, I was walking down with the changed outfit and everything, and there's these long hallways where we were filming. And as I was walking down, like people were like standing to the sides, and they were all like nodding at me like, good job, good job, good job, good job, good job, which is what was happening for June. Like by the time that we were filming by that episode. And it was like the weirdest experience because it felt like our lives just went like, because I caught something that no one else caught, which is what June caught. And like, it was just like these like looks that people were like giving, like nodding that I did it or something.
I was gonna ask you, in your future, do you see yourself doing more than acting?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Was that type of detail, eye to detail, preparing, catching that when nobody else caught it? You know?
That's probably me being like a detective. Though the eye to detail, I would say the thing that matters most to me, my dad always said this thing, like, if you're gonna do something, do it with excellence, you know?
Yeah.
Don't just do it.
Yeah.
You were given the opportunity to do something, so do it well. And if I would like, it would be so basic. Like if I didn't wash the dishes well, he's like, you didn't do that well. Do it again. And so like, I would rewash the dishes. And then like laundry, you didn't fold that well. Fold it well. And like, I would refold the laundry. And I think that kind of like...
Tough love?
I don't know if it's tough love. I don't think it's tough love. I think it's like, for me, like even when I think of like projects I want to be, like I'm a part of and then I will be a part of, people are taking the time out of their day to watch something, to be moved by something, to spend their time. And time is a non-renewable resource. You never get it back. So if someone's going to take the time to watch me in a play or take the time to watch me in something, then I don't want to waste their time. They're never going to get that back. So do it well. And like, I feel like it's a respect for people's time, for their money, for their attention. I feel like we're living in an attention economy where everyone is like trying to like grab it. Mm-hmm. But I think also what we've learned along the way is like, if we like things that are interesting and unique and real. That's so much of what we're seeing. Yep. And it doesn't have to even be, and you know, then it's like removing the idea of it having to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be done with the utmost integrity and excellence that you can bring to it.
I am with you 100%. I think your father, by the way, I want to say hello. He actually said hello to me in a prequel to this.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
And I like the fact that he said he liked un chin. You know,
he did.
Un say un chin. Yeah, he told me that. And un saludo. Let's talk about now.
Yeah.
So you are working like crazy now. Talk to us about your show.
Okay, so now I'm on SVU, Law and Order SVU.
Yep.
And that, speaking of, is a show that's done so well. It's the longest running show on TV. We're entering our 26th season, or we are at our 26th season right now. And like, it's a show that also speaks a lot to like, I believe, powerful women. Like we have someone like Mariska Hargitay, who's been leading that show from the beginning. And she's someone who is a survivor and someone who's like fighting for people who are typically never heard, for their stories to be heard, for them to get healing, for them to see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And she's also someone, speaking of, as like a number one, who does things very with like, she's like, stop, we're gonna do it again. That wasn't good enough. The show has a lot of meaning for me because also when I came in for the show, I think they had seen Griselda and they were like, we want to see her, we're interested in her as well. And when I had conversations with the writers, I wanted to also still defy stereotypes in some way. I want it to be, she just happens to be Latina, right?
Right.
I feel like white people are given that privilege. They just have, like, they're just people.
Exactly.
And what they do and what they think and like how they view the world, like that is what we look at in terms of their humanity. We don't look at like their cultural ethnicity or race or anything. They just happen to be people.
Right.
I feel like I've been given that with Kate, you know? Kate is someone whose father, Eddie Silva, is like a proud Latino from New York and a commissioner, so like in a position of power, but she's coming from like a lineage of like, I need to step up to that. I don't want people to think like I got anything for free. And she's also badass and she's fierce, and I'm excited for her story to like come out where people like really get to know who she is. Because there's like a lot more to come with her. It's just like kind of, I feel like so much of it when you have roles like that is like, you're giving the little breadcrumbs until you can like have the breaking point. I'm all about the breaking point.
Were you nervous when you first got to the set and you were in front of all these people?
I mean, yeah, I'd be lying if I wasn't. I mean, I'm meeting Mariska Hargitay for the first time. Ice-T, who's like amazing. I mean, Ice-T, shout outs to Ice. I'm meeting so many people, and the first time I met them, to be fair, I had to do a screen test. So I'm coming in from LA, and I was in the running for other projects. So I was just like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen with my life right now. I don't know why I'm here. I'm entering a room I'm not sure of. And they were like, no, you need to make a right. And then I'd like make a right, and they're like, no, but go this way. And I was like so lost. I was like, where am I going? You guys are like, you guys just know where everything is. I don't know where anything is. And they're like, go into this room and like make a right. And then like you enter, and it's this place that has so much history. Because like every actor you can think of who's like had some kind of career has done that show. And then I met Mariska for the first time, and I have no idea where I'm going. So like, mind you, let's say the scene was here, I'm walking over there by the bathroom. Like, I'm like, well, I was like, where are the cameras? Where do I go? And then they're like, Mariska, she sees me, she's like, you're come here, like you're meant to be here. And like gives me this big hug. And it was like those words, like, you're meant to be here. That when she like hugged me, I went like, because I was like, what?
What?
I'm meant to be like here? What are you talking about?
That's beautiful.
But I was nervous. I was nervous because like everyone's known each other for so long.
Yeah.
So like you're like, if you ever talk about being the new kid on the block, like that is being the new kid on the block.
I saw in an interview that they said I only signed up for 4 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. He did. No, 4 episodes, I think.
4 episodes, right.
There's only 4 episodes.
4 episodes, right. I definitely could see this being a long run. Talk to me about being a Latina in music. Do you listen to any music? We are here at a beautiful place. A friend of mine owns his bar, Beer Wax in Brooklyn.
That's so cool.
What do you listen to? Music.
I listen to everything. Right now, I'm listening to Kendrick Lamar's new album on repeat.
Okay.
Because it's so good. But I listen to everything. I like grew up listening to Shakira. So I remember Las Pies Descalzados or something.
Pies Descalzos.
Descalzos.
Sí.
I don't know why, but my family would put that CD for us to sleep.
Oh, wow.
So I would listen to her music to go to sleep. And I like wake up like da 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 da, and they're like, oh, that's Shakira, and I'm like, it's like it was like an earworm. It just constantly played in my head. So I definitely listened to La Shakira, Carlos Vives, Juanes. But I also listened to a lot of Karol G now. I listen to jazz, so I'll listen to Miles Davis. I'm getting into rock now for SVU, so I'm listening to like, right now I'm like listening to a bit of Bob Dylan. I'm listening to Rolling Stones, Sex Pistols, like I listen to everything.
Okay.
I listen to everything.
And
La Muchacha, new artist from Colombia, amazing.
La Muchacha, I haven't heard.
I love.
Okay.
I love.
I'm gonna ask my Colombian.
Yeah, you know La Muchacha? What? She's so good. She just had like a live. She had a live show.
We gotta get it. We gotta get La Muchacha
in
to give us
Brooklyn.
some Chín.
She's so good. She talks. She's. You know what I like, and then like talking about Kendrick Lamar and stuff like that is like they're talking about like real. They're talking about like real stuff, and like they're talking about. You know, when you like do stuff like in this business, I think on the outside, people are like, "Oh, that's so glamorous," or like, "Oh, that's like so cool," and that's like, etc. But there's a lot of hard work, and there's like a lot of BS you put up with, and there's a lot of testaments. Whenever someone's fighting for their dreams, there's like a lot of like a hero's journey of like, will you learn past your mistakes to be successful? And artists like La Muchacha or Kendrick Lamar, or even just like, you know, Bob Dylan, he spoke so much about things that he went through, but like they're being honest about artistry.
I gotta tell you something funny. When the song Not Like Us came out,
Yeah.
right? I'm playing that song and I don't know what's going on in the world, right? So my son,
You don't know the beef.
I don't know the beef, right? So
beef.
my son, I'm like, and I put images of immigrants working, right?
Yeah.
You know, I own a cleaning company, and we were doing this video. Yeah, it's funny that you said you were trying to play a role. So anyway, I'm like, they're not like us. They're not like us. And I'm playing that, and I'm putting it on my Instagram. He's like, Dad, you know what's going on?
Do you know the beef?
I was like, no, I just like that part. It's like, not like us, you know? And I took it in as like, you know, we don't take days off. We keep working, you know. It's different when you have to go overseas and land in a place where nobody speaks like you.
Exactly.
And, you know. Do you feel like that's still in New York, or New York is home now? Is New York, like coming from Miami, you've been here?
I feel like New York is more my home than Miami at this point.
That's right.
Because I moved to New York as a teenager. And then like I speak more New York at this point.
You definitely look New York.
I look New York at this point. But I feel like I was raised, like I grew up as an adult in New York. And then New York also raised me in like ways of like, you know, was it Frank Sinatra who says, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere?
That's right.
That it's just like, you have, like the opportunities are possible, you just have to work for it and never take no as an answer. The culture here, it's swag city. New York is swag city for me.
And I think that I keep saying that as immigrants, we believe that dream, you know, like I believed it. I was like, okay, New York, I could do anything. You know? And now that things have happened for me, I have the same mentality. It's like, I'm in New York, I could make it happen.
Yeah.
And you have to have some sort of that audacity and sense of belonging, you know. Why are we doing Chín? Because, you know, this is where I am, and in New York we could do it. I wanted to ask you a last question. Latinas that you love to work with, you know? I know that you work with Sofia Vergara.
I know.
We didn't speak about that a little bit yet.
Sofia Vergara. I have to give respect for her. Latinas I would love to work with. There's many Latinas I would love to work with. So I just saw Emilia Perez.
With Zoe.
With Zoe Saldana. I would love to work with her. Selena Gomez. They were both so amazing in the film, as so many other people were.
Right.
I would love to work with Adria Arjona, with Ana de Armas. I respect the I respect the challenges, like the creative challenges she did in doing like Marilyn Monroe.
Okay.
That's like stuff that I want to do as well. But like also, I really want to work with directors. I want to work with movie directors.
Yes. Okay.
I like when I think of like people like what Pedro Almodóvar has done. You know, we have like a lot of really amazing Latino directors right now.
Yeah, and given the opportunity to talent like you, and I love. We talked about the Lincoln Lawyer. That whole that whole behind the scenes. I wanted to ask you one last thing.
Yeah.
Tell me. No, because I respect your opinion, and I want you to be sincere. Tell me what you liked about Unchin, how you think that we could continue this journey, because my goal is to meet people like you and give inspiration for those that are looking at you, you know, like, so anything that you like about Unchin so far?
Yeah, it's like, this is grassroots. This is community driven.
Yes.
I have like fellow Colombians over here. I'm like talking to another Latino, such as like as we are.
Right.
It's there's not too many, like there's so many of us, like the global majority, as they say, like we're so prevalent. But in terms of like industry and stuff and like making art into like the nexus of like society and what we're talking about, there's more that we have to do. And to have conversations like this, it, you know, I think about like things about the importance of like being seen, right? Like when a baby comes out into the world, like the first thing they have to do is cry to get breath in their lungs. Yeah. And then the next thing they also have to do is they have to be seen by the mother, by someone that they are being acknowledged, their existence. And like, I think about that in like such a deeper way of like what that means like also for us. Because when you're seen, your existence is therefore therefore then like put into the universe as like something that is worthy to exist, something that is validated, something that's acknowledged. And that's the only way we can continue to heal and we can continue to do things. Is like saying, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. Keep doing you. Keep doing whatever you want to do to embrace you and like what your dreams are. Keep doing that because you deserve a place at the table. And I think that's what Unchin does, right?
I am so thankful for that because it's true. I think that's the energy that I feel every single time that I do these young artists. They look forward to the profiles. They look forward to seeing them, and not only that, but the sharing and collaborating with the whole Unchin, and to me, it's giving me it's a dream.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't describe, because we started a long time ago and we stopped. But now that I'm doing it again, I'm full of energy. I love the fact that every single one of the people that I profile, they're looking forward to this one particular video to showcase.
Because it's so beautiful, yeah.
And they become part of this journey, and I'm so thankful. Juliana, gracias. Thank you so much for being with us. I am so thankful that you're giving us the time and giving us Unchin. You want to say something?
Yes. Well, first of all, Ramon, thank you. This is lovely being able to be with you guys today. And always, don't forget, dame un chin.